And we're back on Travel Michigan. I'm George Zimmerman along with Michelle Bonach. Michelle, as we mentioned before the break, next stop over to the west side to Grand Haven to talk about events happening in that part of the state as we enter April.
That's right. We are talking with Stephanie Herder, the Visitor Center Manager at the Grand Haven Convention and Visitors Bureau. And Stephanie, let's start. Easter's just around the corner, and you guys have a couple of Easter egg hunt and Easter events for folks to participate in that area.
Yes, we do. On Saturday, April 7th, Grand Haven and Spring Lake, our two communities, are having an Easter egg hunt. So the kids can get out and look for thousands upon thousands of Easter eggs in each of their central parks in Grand Haven and Spring Lake. So it should be a fun time. And then
once we get past Easter, obviously, which is next weekend, other things going on that would attract visitors, especially people from, maybe further away. What are kind of your major events coming up as we get into spring, summer here?
Well, our first big event of the year is the Great Lakes Kite Festival, and that is May 18th through the 20th, and that's at Grand Haven State Park. And it's the 24th annual Great Lakes Kite Festival, and it's put on by our friends at Matt Kite here in Grand Haven, and it's the largest of its kind in the Midwest. So you'll see over 25 flyers from throughout the U.S. and Canada competing and showing off huge kites throughout, stunt kites. You'll even see, we've had large octopus kites, and I think it's the only time you'll see an octopus in the Grand Haven area.
Probably. Yeah. Except maybe at a dinner somewhere.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah.
So there's world-famous stunt flyers coming in, and you can also bring your own kite, or, they'll have a tent set up where you can look at new kites to purchase and join in the fun.
So, world-famous kite flyers?
Yes.
So there are people who are famous for their kite flying?
Yes. There are professional kite flyers out there, and
how did
they
I
will
miss
be
that profession?
Yeah, exactly.
I know. I would love to. That's a fun job, professional kite flyer.
Yeah. And so these are people who, tell us about them a little bit. They go around the country competing, basically, and are they sponsored? And how does that work?
Yeah, I believe they're sponsored, and this is just what they do. They travel around the U.S., and since it's warmer in Michigan around that time of year in May, they come and make us a stop, and so we're happy to have them here.
Okay. I guess maybe they're sponsored by the Twine Company or something. Well, maybe not. Who knows? But that sounds like a lot of fun. And for people who have not been to Grand Haven or don't know the area well, just talk a little bit about the community and where you're located at and the kind of things that attract people to Grand Haven.
Yes, Grand Haven is located right along Lake Michigan. We're just south of Muskegon and north of Holland, and about half an hour west of Grand Rapids. We are, of course, famous for our beaches, especially Grand Haven State Park. But we have more than just one beach. We have the Grand Haven City Beach. We have North Park Beach. We have Kirk Park, Rosie Mound Natural Area. So you can have more than one beach during your stay. We have our awesome boardwalk that goes along the channel and all the way out to our beautiful lighthouse and pier, where you can watch amazing sunsets, but also fish or watch the surf. We have our world-famous musical fountain, which is the largest of its kind.
Yeah. Yes. Tell folks about that. That's a cool thing.
Well, it's if you're familiar, I guess the best way to describe it is like the Bellagio fountains in Vegas. Mm-hmm. But it's a water and light show, choreography. I can't say it, dancing to music, I should say. Mm-hmm. And so they have a different theme every night, and it runs nightly, Memorial Day through Labor Day, after sunset and at dusk. And it's a great 20-minute show, and it's great for families, and it's a must-see in the Grand Haven area.
Well, yeah, and you're part of the group that obviously works with us with Travel Michigan, known as the Michigan Beach Towns.
Yes.
And I think that's what you guys have done as a group of communities. There's, I guess, 9 of you involved in that project, where you and Holland and South Haven and others along the lakefront there on the Lake Michigan side really mark it as a group, because you each offer something, but you're encouraging people really to sample all of those towns.
Yes, absolutely. You can travel all the way out from South Haven all the way up to Ludington. We're all part of the beach towns, and because we all have our own little flavor, our own attractions, different shops, different dining. So we really encourage people to travel to the west side to see Lake Michigan, but also to town hop, because there's something new you can see every day. And we're not far between each other, about a half an hour at the most between towns. And so you can make a whole week vacation out of the west side of Michigan.
Absolutely. And I think, too, for a lot of people in southeast Michigan where there's this, as we've talked about before in the show, there's a strong cultural pull to just drive north.
Yes, exactly.
Just get on I-75 and go north, and do the up north thing, and that's great. But I think a lot of times that people in southeast Michigan are not as familiar with what's going on the west side of the state, and while people in Chicago tend to be more familiar with it because that's where they often vacation.
Yes, I mean, West Michigan. Come to the west coast of Michigan. If you, instead of going south to try to find beaches, you can just travel about a couple hours west, and it's a whole beach feel. And you can travel up north, but come back down west on your way home or on your way up. And you just have to see Lake Michigan.
Yeah, it is spectacular, especially where you're located along those beach towns there. So talk about let's talk about some specific places. Some of the restaurants that you'd recommend in the area, and some of the kind of unique places to stay. What would you recommend for folks in those lines?
Well, definitely places to stay. We have a great, unique selection of hotels, motels, bed and breakfasts, inns, vacation homes. We have something for everybody. We have waterfront accommodations like those at the Blue Water Inn across the street from the state park. We have the Cardoma Lodge, which is a historic lodge. It was built in the 1800s, and it's just that knotty pine lodge feel, located around the corner from Lake Michigan. We have Harbor House Inn, who is a bed and breakfast, and located along the river, going out downtown. And then we have places like the Days Inn and Best Western, are just minutes from downtown, and provide like indoor pool, continental breakfast, and all of that. But yeah, for places to eat, the must places to stop, I would say, would be the Kirby House, downtown Grand Haven.
Right.
They have K2 Pizzeria upstairs, which is some of my favorite pizza. I'm a big pizza junkie. And then you also have Snug Harbor, located along the channel with great views and great food. And Morningstar Cafe is one of the favorites for breakfast. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you have to stop and get a Pronto Pup in Grand Haven.
Yes, you do.
You have to stop and get a Pronto Pup, which is our, just a little stand, but it's the best corn dog. But we call it a Pronto Pup.
Yes.
That you've ever had.
They are very good.
And then also you can stop by Butch's Beach Burritos, and you have to get an ice cream cone from Sweet Temptations.
Yep. Many great places. And you also mentioned the vacation home rentals. I think sometimes people don't think about that, but those are also where you can rent a house if you are looking for a vacation spot for a week or whatever the case may be. So those are all very good choices. We've been talking to Stephanie Herder, the Visitor Center Manager there at the Grand Haven Convention and Visitor Bureau. For more information on Grand Haven and everything coming up with their special events and places to stay and places to eat, go to visitgrandhaven.com. And, of course, we'll have a link to, and we do have links to visitgrandhaven.com from Michigan.org, where your trip begins. And speaking of Michigan.org, lots of things going on right now. We've got so many great spring-summer activities popping up, obviously, this time of year. So be sure to check those out. We've got things really happening all over the state, and as people start to plan their spring-summer trips, this is obviously peak season for us, summer being the biggest tourism season by far for the state of Michigan, and also one where we see more and more out-of-state visitors and more distant out-of-state visitors from places like Texas and Oklahoma and Georgia, et cetera. I think largely driven by the fact that it's been so hot in those parts of the country in recent years, last year with the drought and everything else. Also, be sure to check out our Pure Michigan merchandise, and that's available. You'll find links to that from the homepage there at Michigan.org, and all of our social media channels. So if you're interested in being involved with the Pure Michigan Facebook community or the Pure Michigan Twitter community, YouTube, whatever it might be, Flickr. I think there are about 15,000 photos now that people have posted to the Pure Michigan Flickr page. So certainly you can check those out and find out where those shots were taken, and might give you some ideas on places where you might want to travel here in the great state of Michigan. So all of that's available at Michigan.org. And again, I mentioned the social media. The other great thing we see, especially as summer heats up, is more and more trip ideas on our Facebook page. So click on the Pure Michigan Facebook page or just search it on Facebook and find out what other folks are doing, and it'll give you some ideas on some places to go. We'll be back in a minute with more of Travel Michigan, where your trip begins at Michigan.org.